So thank you everyone for coming this Sunday morning to yoga therapy. Today we are working with the lower back and the other side of it, the third chakra, the center of empowerment and a big power center in the body, a big center of prana or energy. So bending your knees, feeling your feet, just starting with legs and feet in that first chakra at the pelvic floor. And inhale, straightening. And exhale, bending. Make a ha sound as you exhale. And inhale, straightening, and maybe adding arms at the side to open the chest, open the lower back. Exhale. Pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, right up to that belly button, maybe touching that lower part. Inhale, opening. And just do this in your own timing, just arriving on the mat. As we exhale, we clean by moving toxins out. As we inhale, we burn the toxins, we burn the obstacles. This belly button area is the area of Jatra Agni. There's a fire burning there. See the yogis. The fire in the belly, as we say. Fire in the belly, your motivation, your digestion, your personal power as a human being. So if you're prone to anxiety or fear, working with this center can be very helpful. And I know a lot of us experience this emotion time to time, or a lot. So when we work with the lower back, we work with courage and strength without it turning into arrogance. And that's the fine balance. So how can we be strong without becoming arrogant? And just to link those two ideas together, one hand at the heart and the other at the belly. So how can we have that open, soft heart while remaining strong and empowered at the same time? So starting to inhale perhaps into the upper chest, lower chest, full belly. And exhale, drawing up from the pelvic floor to the belly button and the chest falls. This is the full breathing pattern from Krishnamacharya's yoga. Inhale, chest. Exhale, belly to chest. Sorry, folks, internet a bit unstable, but I think you kept going. Going, I'm just going to make sure you're all muted. Keep just going with the breathing. Okay, Walter, can you just make sure you're muted? It says you're not. Okay. All right, so we're going to just start with some movement of the arms. Inhale, arms at the sides, coming up. And exhale, arms coming down. Inhale, arms front. Exhale, arms down. Now, as you do this, I want you to feel the difference between arms side and arms front. So arms side, perhaps you're feeling more of the upper back, neck, and shoulders. And arms front, perhaps you're feeling the lower back a bit more. You can add looking up as you inhale, just to add a bit more back arch into the chest, or you can keep the chin in, and that makes it more of the lower back, especially arms front. So you can experiment with that. So keeping the chin in kind of blocks the movement of the upper back a bit more if you want to focus more on the lower back. So just feel the difference. Or you might want to also open the upper back. Okay, we're going to try going up on the toes. And from here, we're going to go right into side bends. So you're going to exhale, come to your left, and perhaps stay on the toes as long as possible, or come down at the end, which I like to do to get more into that other side of the hip. So you can challenge your balance by staying as long as possible, and then right at the end, coming down. Keep this going your own timing, or do it with me. Inhale up, exhale side. Just keep that going. I'm just going to make one change to make sure it's capturing my screen here. Okay. When you're ready, staying on one side, on your left perhaps, left foot over right, and just going into that deeper side stretch. You can add a bit more intensity with the arms, holding opposite elbows. You can stretch that top arm. You can also go to the wall and add more intensity. It's getting into that QL area, the quadratus lumborum, which is often tight. I talk about it a lot, causes back pain. Let's go to the other side. So just picking your medicine. So folding the arms, holding the top arm, just relaxed arms, or using the wall. Trying to stick that opposite hip out. Try to lengthen that exhale. And finishing up. And find the center. Let's do some Brahmari bee breath with long exhale. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, we're going to make a humming sound. So this bee breath helps us lengthen the exhale, helps us down-regulate the nervous system. Inhale, if you like, you can visualize the radiant sun, and exhale, a waterfall coming down the body right to the feet. Inhale up. Again, if you have one leg longer than the other, feel free to bring that foot slightly back to even out the hips. This also really clears the sinuses and helps produce nitric oxide, which helps us with immunity and getting more oxygen in the body. Inhale. And those forward bends are wonderful for anxiety, for grounding, for relaxing. Now staying in that forward bend. If this forward bend's not working for you, again, you can use a chair. I mention this often. Any height, especially if there's heart issues. You might not want the head lower than the heart. Otherwise, if you can, in this standing forward bend, or you can do a seated forward bend. And these forward bends are wonderful for compression in the lower back. So for stenosis or degenerative disc disease, forward bends are usually recommended. You can have some movement in the forward bend to help you. Inhale, arching the spine, exhale, forward. Or just stay in the position. And when you're ready, coming out slowly, inhale halfway up, exhale, stay. Inhale the rest of the way up. And just notice how you feel. A little bit more in your body, a little less in your mind. And probably a little taller, having stretched the spine. All right, so we're just going to keep going back and forth, no pun intended, between the back arch and the forward bend to work with the lower back. And then we'll move more into the side body. So bringing the left foot forward, the right foot back. I'm going to show with the chair first. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, forward bend. Now you can do that with a chair, or some of you might do it without the chair. You could also use blocks. So this is the next stage. If you can, inhale, bring the arms in line with the ears and come up. This strengthens the back. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. You're slightly rounding the spine, coming forward. Parshva Uttanasana, one-sided forward bend, doing this around 6 times all together. And then when you've done around 6, staying at the bottom, getting into that deep leg stretch. You can add some movement, inhale up, exhale forward. You can do this with the arms on the chair. And perhaps bring the hands to that little toe side, going a little bit more deeply into the right hip, lower back, that QL area. Coming to the center, gradually coming up slowly. You might be a bit dizzy, be careful. Stepping back if that's comfortable. Finding your samastiti, and then going to the other side. Right foot forward, left foot turned out. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, forward bend, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Maybe bending the knee at the bottom. Inhale, arms in line with the ears, moving the arms first and then coming up. Now, if that's not accessible, bring the arms to the sides or arms up the legs. You can also use a chair to come forward. You could do something like this. You're going to do this 4 to 6 times your own breathing. Just modifying for your needs. So for example, on this side, I tend to bend my right knee because my right leg's longer and it just feels more comfortable in my body. And then eventually I keep it straight. Just listening to your body. After you feel complete, you've done 4 to 6, staying at the bottom. Inhale, arching the spine, lengthening the belly along the thigh. Exhale, forward bend. Staying here 4 to 6 breaths, and then coming to that little toe side and feel that stretch into the left hip, lower back. And that can be intense. Always add some movement if it's intense, or come higher, hands on the chair. Coming back to the center, stepping forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, stay. Inhale the rest of the way up. Exhale, finding your samastiti. Even standing pose. Think about placing your hands on your belly button. So you can create this, what's called yoni mudra, this diamond shape around your belly button, and fingers pointing down towards the earth and the thumbs pointing up towards the heart. And I like to think of it as creating a bit of a fireplace for that fire at the belly button. And if you like, as you inhale, you can see that fire expand. And as you exhale, you can see it burning the logs, burning perhaps toxins moving down. Just notice if one side is a little harder to visualize that light in. That can often happen with just some blocks in the system. So just try to lighten up both sides as much as you can with your imagination. All right, we're going to move into warrior now. So this is the quintessential power pose. We're going to do a empowerment version of it. Left foot forward, right foot back. And if you like, you can use the wall to press into. I'll show you in a second. So inhale, elbows coming back, bending the front knee. So apparently this is how this pose was originally done by the martial artists in South India, in Kerala, something like this. And then exhale, I've added this piece, exhale, pressing away. And you can do this right at the wall if you like, pressing into the wall. With boundaries. Inhale, what do you want to say yes to? So you can think of a word if you like. So yes to, just pick a word. Might be something to do with empowerment, courage, strength, vitality. Exhale, what do you want to say no to? So it might be fear, it might be behavior, might be someone else's actions. Inhale. And exhale. So try to make it simple. One word is usually best. So you could also visualize a situation. What do you want to say no to? What do you want to say yes to? The last two, adding a hold after inhale, revving up that fire, holding after inhale. And exhale. The hold can be about half the length of the inhale or the same length. You can choose. Just do that one more time. And stepping back, samastiti. And in this position, can you think of a neutral word like peace or joy or harmony, or maybe even a bit more neutral, something like presence? Samastiti, even standing pose. What's in the center of those opposites? Sometimes I just say to myself now as I exhale. I just say now. When you're ready, the other side, right foot forward, left foot turned out. Inhale, arms coming back, saying yes to some sort of word of empowerment. And exhale, pushing away fear or some behavior that you'd like to let go of. Just keep this going your own time, moving meditation, moving contemplation. I'm using Ujjayi pranayama, constricting the throat, helping me lengthen the breath. You can add a hold after inhale in your last 3 if you like. Hold can be half the length of your inhale or same length. Just finishing up. Stepping back, samastiti. Finding that neutral word. Maybe peace. Maybe balance. Presence. All right. We're going to increase these warriors and focus a bit more on the lower back with them. So left foot forward, right foot turned out, and a bit bigger pose if it's comfortable for you. And you're going to inhale, you're going to come forward about a quarter of the way and extend your arms long. And some of you might be able to interlock your fingers and really lengthen. And you can feel that length through that back hip, that right hip, and exhale, release. Now, if you want to make this less intense, you can just do opposite arm to front leg or same arm as front leg. So it depends on your back. It's helping you stretch one side of the spine at a time. So if you have imbalances of the spine, if you know one side's a bit shorter than the other, you could use just one arm. This is to decompress the back. And it's also strengthening for the core and the back, just being in that position, quarter of the way down. Now, if you want to make it more intense, you can stay in the position and breathe. After repeating 3 to 4 times. When you've had enough, just go into a forward bend to rest. I'm putting my hands on the chair. And when you're ready, coming up, if possible, stepping back. So this is Krishnamacharya's notion that warriors step forward as if you're holding a sword with your left hand and you step with your right. That's the position of warrior, is that stepping forward. All right, so when you're ready, turning that back foot out. Inhale, extending forward, nice and long. So again, you can do opposite arm to front leg, or same, or both, or interlock the fingers. Just pick your medicine. See which one feels best. See which one your body says yes to. Just try to listen deeply for that message. Your body will definitely tell you, your nervous system. About 80% of our somatic information comes from the body to our brain, so we just have to be aware of it. And you're probably getting quite a bit warmer now. I know I'm heating up. And if it's comfortable now, staying in the position. Again, you can make that stride a little longer. And when you've had enough, go into your forward bend. Of course, strengthening for the legs too. Going into your forward bend, I'm using the chair so that I can keep lengthening my spine by walking my fingertips forward on the seat of the chair. Your hands could be down by your foot as well, if that feels better, or hands on the back of the chair. And you might feel more of a stretch through that left side with the foot back. You're stretching that side of your back a bit more into the shoulder. And when you're ready, stepping forward, coming up, and finding your samastiti. Just notice how you feel having done all that work. Again, you might feel quite a bit taller. And I'm getting warm, so I don't know about you, but I'm taking a layer off. So yeah, we're going to do a bit more that's going to make us warmer. And again, you can touch that nabi point, or that dantian, that center of prana. I recently read from a direct student of Krishnamacharya that he said there were 3 centers, big centers of prana in the body, one at the nabi point, another at the heart, and the other above the head. And Ayurveda says the head itself. And I was thinking these are like the 3 brains that neurophysiology talks about, these 3 centers of cognition and awareness. So we're working with that lower brain, what we feel in our gut to be true. When you're ready, you're going to bring your foot onto your chair. Now, if you don't have a chair and you've got an ottoman around, or a bed, or a couch even, I've done this on all sorts of things. You're going to bring your foot up to that. And we're going to get a bit more deeply into our hips. We did this last week. Leave. And that back foot parallel to the front. We're just going to get into these chair lunges, as I call them. And I use them for the hips, but also working with the hips also works the lower back. So exhale. I'm bending my back knee as much as I can comfortably, and inhale, straightening. And some of you might take that a little further eventually. We're going to exhale, bend that back knee and stretch into that back hip. So this is like a kind of a lunge, but elevated, which gives you more room to move that back hip. And you can also hold the wall. So I do many variations of this. This one I'm doing for the psoas. This area tends to get tight for many people with physical activities, but also just too much sitting. And it said somatically, we store a lot of fear in this area of our body. Going to the other side, so this is an area of big movement if we're trying to get away from a situation. And if we weren't able to flee, sometimes that energy can be stored in that psoas area. Exhale, bending the back knee. So sometimes working with these areas somatically can actually help us release emotional tension from the past. And if this area is tight, it often causes lower back pain. So this was one of my big yoga therapy moments in my early 30s. I discovered this for myself, and it took me out of this, and a lot of core work took me out of having lower back pain. Now that back foot, I'm trying to make it parallel to the front, but it can, you can use the back foot turned out. All right, we're going to do another round. Take a break if you need to. This one, we're going to create more of a back arch forward bend movement. So again, that back foot can be turned out, but more like a warrior. I'm going to keep mine in a more of a lunge position. So Rajagopatasana, if you know the names of the poses, Ekapada, Rajagopatasana, one-footed pigeon, peacock, I guess it's peacock. Exhale, forward bend to your place. And your forward bend might be here with the knee bent, or it might be all the way. It's the other version I teach of this. Inhale, coming into a lunge. Now your hands might be on the wall. They might be up. That knee can come forward towards the toes, but not beyond, ideally. And exhale, forward bend to your place. You don't want to do this unless you're warm. So I often do this if I go walking or running on park benches. So I know some of you in the room are runners, and this is fantastic as a counter pose for running. And I've taken up walking post 50, and it's great for that too. And maybe staying in that forward bend a little longer. Your hands can be on the back of the chair, on the seat of the chair. Be careful of your balance. You can inhale, point the toes, exhale, flex to get into the front of the foot. So we've done a lot of preparation for that today. It's kind of our peak pose in the standing series. Other side, same thing on this side. So back foot parallel or turned out. Inhale, arms coming up. That knee can come forward towards the toes. And exhale, forward bend, hands on the back of the chair, wall, or seat of the chair. If this is hurting your heel, you can also put a yoga mat on the chair to just help create a more comfort. Or if you've got an ottoman, that can get rid of that problem, or a couch, the bed. I often do this one when I travel. When I go to the gym and do some elliptical, and then I come to my hotel room and do this pose and lie in the bed and do all sorts of supine stretches for the legs. So doing that around 6 times. And just finishing up and staying in that forward bend stretch. And your foot could be on a bench or an ottoman, window seat. And inhale, point, exhale, flex. And for those of you with imbalances of the spine, you can try walking one hand forward and the other back. When you're ready, carefully bending that front knee, bringing that foot off. You might want to use your other hand to help. And let's just end this with spinal stretch. So I'm holding the back of the chair. Just moving the hips side to side. Inhale, center, exhale, other side. You can do this with your hands on a countertop or on a table as well. You might bend one of the knees as you do this, or both of them. So I'm bending the knee of the hip that's twisting, or keeping the leg straight. Just staying in the center. Exhale, drop the pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Inhale, lengthen. Do that a couple more times. Rounding the spine as you exhale, inhale, lengthening. Last time. Feel that a bit more into the mid back. We're going to move it a bit into the lower back by holding the sides of the chair. Now you can do this on the floor, knees on the floor, cat-cow, but I really like it with the chair because you actually get more room to move, just like doing those chair lunges. You actually can move the spine more. Inhale, bend the knees, looking forward, or just keep the neck long if that hurts your neck, looking forward. And exhale, looking down, tucking the tailbone under and really stretching the lower back. Draw the belly in as much as you can. And inhale, bend the knees, arch the spine. And exhale, draw in and up. Now, if you want to add on, this is strengthening the lower back. I'm going to step back a little bit. Inhale, extend one leg back. It's also working on balancing. Exhale, bend the knee in. And I'm bending the supporting leg as well. Inhale, extending my left leg, straightening the right. Exhale, bending in. Now you could go side to side. We're just going to make it just one side at a time for simplicity's sake. So the standing version of Chakravakasana. And this is strengthening the lower back using the leg. Now, if it's comfortable, you can stay with your leg up. Try to drop that hip. Could have the back foot at a wall. And just stay here. This is like a warrior 3, if you know that pose. And going to the other side, inhale, extend. Exhale, bend. Bending both legs, rounding the spine. Inhale, extend. Stretching and strengthening the lower back. And the legs. After doing this 4 to 6 times, you're going to stay in the position. I would keep the chin tucked in for most of you, just to strengthen the neck and not strain those cervical vertebrae. Toe down with the back foot. So we'll want to turn out, toe down, drop that right hip, the leg that's extended, draw the belly in. Maybe extend the foot. Maybe point the toes. You can play with that. And when you've had enough, just coming out. I'm just going into a downward facing dog at the chair, or you can do it without the chair. And you can do this with a bench or a table or an ottoman or a couch. Nicer to have something a little harder for this one. Inhale, coming forward and holding the sides of the chair. Again, I've got my chair at the wall for safety, just for slippage. Exhale, coming back, and bend those knees or keep them straight. See which one feels better in your lower back. I like bending because it decompresses my lower back more. As you inhale, lifting away from the chair, tucking the tail under, scooping the tail under. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls, chin in. Inhale, upper chest, middle chest, lower chest, belly expands, but hold the pelvic floor slightly in. And exhale, coming back. And last time, you could be doing this on the floor. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Just staying in whichever pose. I'm going to move to the floor, downward facing dog. If you're in the full pose, you can play with stretching your legs, weighting one foot at a time. It's great for tightness in the calves. This pose, bringing the head lower than the heart and inverting the lungs actually helps get more blood flow into that top chamber of the lungs. Because that area of the lungs doesn't get much blood flow because of gravity. So we're helping change that through the semi-inversion. That actually helps us get more oxygen into our bloodstream. So that's an interesting fact from physiology. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, child's pose, or if you were at the chair, just come to a child's pose in your own way. This doesn't work for your knees. It's too hard on your knees. You can modify by coming higher up and just bringing your head down and rest your head on your hands. You could create fists with your hands and put this on your third eye. You could use a block under your third eye. We're coming back. If you have imbalances in your spine, you might try one knee behind the other and just see how that feels. You're stretching one side of your lower back more than the other. And when you're ready, before we lie down, you might want to get rid of your chair. So I'm going to move mine off to the side. Otherwise, just lie down on your back, get comfortable. You might want to add a layer of clothing because we will cool off a bit. And just having a belt nearby or a scarf for leg stretches. We seem to be moving in that direction today. Just lying down, finding your pose. Classically, the head in Krishnamacharya's yoga is always facing the same direction. So that's why you see me flipping my body around. So my head is always east and my feet are west. So you could do that as well as if you like. Sometimes I flip my body just so you can see me better with the camera. So as you lie here, just first of all, notice how it feels to lie flat on your lower back. So you've got some options. One is if it doesn't feel comfortable, you can always bend your knees. I know all of you know that. Another that I haven't talked about in a while is you can take a block or a pillow and put it under your hips. I personally do not like the feeling of this, but for some backs, they will love this feeling, and you can play where you put that block. So yes, now I'm remembering, right under the hips. And that gives a bit more stretch, like we were doing that chair lunge in the hip flexors. So I'm actually going to try this today and just see how it feels. So you can use a cushion or a block. If you like, bringing the hands, creating that diamond shape around your nabi, your belly button. And in this position, as you inhale, feel that fire, those flames expand and get bigger. And exhale, feel those flames become more central, a little more contained. Perhaps the feeling of the ashes or the waste product moving out. So you just visualize the logs. Inhale, feel the fire. And exhale, you can feel that fireplace or those logs or that ash moving out. If you'd like, adding a hold after inhale to expand those flames. That hold after exhale can be very brief, or it can be half the length of your inhale or the same length. As you do this, you might feel some heat in the belly.
And when you're ready, just finishing up. If your knees aren't already bent, do bend them. And you can leave that block if you have it, but bring it a little higher towards your waist, the top edge of it, or a cushion. And bring your knees into your chest, Apanasana. So just start with two-sided Apanasana. Inhale, knees away. Exhale, knees towards you. Pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Now I'm going to do this without my hands so that I make sure that I'm using the core or the mula to move my legs. So the mula bandha runs from the pelvic floor to the belly button, really drawing that in and up and using that to move my legs. Right at the end, I'm adding my hands to stretch my lower back and hips. So you can try that with me. This is not classical, but I've discovered that this really helps you get into the point of this pose, which is using the apana vayu, or that mula, that downward flow of energy, that root. It's also very decompressing for the spine. I've got this block under the buttocks to increase the potential of the lower back to decompress. If that doesn't work for you, just remove it. Every back is different. And these group classes, you really have to take quite a bit of responsibility for yourself to discover what works best for you. And drawing the belly in. This is also used for constipation of body or mind. So for fear, anxiety, reducing that, as well as just physical constipation. We're going to do one side at a time. So Ekapada Apanasana. So we're going to stretch the right leg long and the left leg in, and you might need to either remove that block or move it down a bit, because it just kind of changes the angle when you stretch one leg. And you're going to bring one knee into the chest. This is often given by physiotherapy therapists for lower back pain. Now, this long leg, you're feeling a stretch through that hip. And then the left knee in, you're feeling that in your lower back. Now you can move that a bit. Inhale, knee away, exhale, knee towards you, or just stay here. When we're really warm, the advantage of doing the standing poses first is you're nice and warm, and then you can go more deeply into these supine and prone positions. When you're ready, switching sides. So decompressing the right lower back with the knee into the chest, and decompressing the left hip by extending the left leg long, if that works for your body. You can move it, inhale, knee away, exhale, knee towards you, or stay. Today we're doing a lot of back bends, forward bends. If it's comfortable, bringing both knees into the chest. Apanasana, just staying here. You might want to adjust that block, just make sure you're comfortable. And finally, perhaps legs to the sky, and perhaps bringing your feet towards your nose. You can hold the calves, the thighs, the feet, the big toes, any of those things. Try to keep that lower back connected to the block or the floor. It's a little bit like halasana or plow pose, or an inverted Paschimottanasana, stretching of the back body that we normally do seated. It's an inverted form of that. This deeply stretches the legs and the lower back. And just stay with your legs to the sky. Enjoy that inversion. You can also bring your hands to the sky if you like, to encourage lymphatic drainage and the appendages back through the whole circulatory system. Great for working with circulation, relaxation. Also helps us just change our perspective when you kind of get caught in what we call in yoga vritti, a kind of a mind is spinning on a thought. You can get out of that sometimes by just inverting your body. Helps you change perspective. We're going to flip onto our bellies now. So again, I'm keeping my head always in that same place. So be careful as you flip over. You'll put a pillow underneath your belly or a blanket, or just be flat on the ground. I'm just going to be flat on the ground today myself. And I'm bringing my feet right to the wall. And your hands, you can fold them and then rest your forehead on your hands, or bring your head down. You don't have a wall, that you can still do this. That means a wall you can use. Inhale, tucking your toes under, and your heels are coming off slightly. And again, you can use the wall to help with that. And your knees come off the ground as well. So just feel that. And then exhale, release. This strengthens the legs and the knees as well as the lower back. I don't know if you can feel this all the way into your lower back. A very simple exercise. Exhale, release. Now, some of you might want to add a little bit of chest movement. So I'm moving towards Shalabhasana here, for those of you who know the poses classically. So in this position, your hands can be anywhere that's comfortable. I like creating a diamond shape myself. You can just use the legs or add the chest. Keep the chin in, because otherwise you might get a headache. Quite a bit of blood flow changes to the head, up and down. Now, if you want to add on leg movement. So inhale, bring one leg up. You can use that wall, or you can do this away from the wall. And that other leg, you can keep extending it long with the toes tucked under, or let it relax. Exhale, release the leg down. Inhale, other side, Ardha Shalabhasana. Moving towards the classical pose here. You could be adding opposite or same arm as leg. That gets more into the upper body. We're going to just focus on the lower body, not add the arms today. And you might want to stay there for a breath or two. Careful to keep that chin tucked in. Classically, we do look forward, but I do find it causes headaches in many of my students. So just be careful of that. If you do look forward, just be careful. If you're prone to headaches, I would keep the chin tucked in. And when you feel you've had enough, coming back into child's pose or puppy pose. I'm showing more of a puppy pose here. It's a variation that I've learned in the West, or full child's pose. Legs parallel is more lower back. You bring your knees apart. This is an Iyengar variation. This gets more into the hips. So just decide which one you want to do, and that might help your lower back. The other thing you can do here is you can take a block or a blanket and put it under the belly so that your belly is connected to the floor. And I have my block like this, but you might have it like this. You can also use a bolster or just stick a pillow or a blanket under your belly so that the lower back comes towards the ceiling. This also helps with that inversion of the lungs, getting that top third of the lungs down so that there's more blood flow going there. This helps us get more oxygen into that part of the lungs that normally doesn't get used too much. We decompress the lower back sometimes a bit more effectively by having the belly connected to the floor with a prop. Well, you can have your thighs parallel, and that also holds your belly and your lower back, links them together with the prop of your legs. When you're ready, coming on to your back and grabbing your belt. Move into our leg stretches. But before we do that, we're going to do bridge pose. So today we're doing a lot of back arch forward bend movement, which is a great way of getting into the lower back. Right, just making any adjustments you need to. All right, for the bridge pose, I'm going to give you two options. So one is you take a block or a pillow and put it between your thighs. This is helpful if you're weaker in your inner thighs. Okay, so you know that, you can choose that. Otherwise, you could put your belt in a loop on your thighs. This is good if you're tight in your hips. Sometimes this can help you get a bit more space as you come up, and can help with tightness in hips. Some students who've had car accidents, etc., that has destabilized the pelvis, you put the belt and the block together, you will feel very stable. And I'm going to show that one today. I have a lot of students who like this one. So any of those options, finding your place, inhale, lifting the hips up. And exhale, coming down. And if you've got the block, you're squeezing that block. You can do this with a pillow or a cushion as well if you don't have a yoga block. I'm leaving the arms down so the focus is more on the lower back. Inhale, coming up. As you exhale, squeeze that block and come down. Inhale into the chest, into the belly as you come up. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Squeeze that block, chest comes down. Now you might add a stay pose, lifting the hips up. And staying here if you want, otherwise keep it going up and down. If you want to challenge yourself further, inhale, come up onto those toes, lift the heels, lift the hips high. Exhale, just bring the heels down and squeeze that block. This is also going to strengthen those hips. So it really depends on your back. Just pick your medicine. You might just go up and down, or you can add this more challenging variation. So for me, it's hard for me to feel my lower back in this pose unless I lift my heels up, just with my personal anatomy, but that might not be the case for you. When you've had enough, you can come down or stay a few more breaths. When you're ready, coming all the way down. You've got that belt, just unloop that. And your block or cushion, just getting rid of that. Keep your belt near you. So we're going to move into leg stretches as counter pose. After we just do a simple one of Urdhva Prasarita Padasana, exhale, knees to chest, inhale, legs to the sky, arms overhead to the floor behind you. Exhale, knees to the chest. Now, if you want to add on for more core work, inhale, legs up, arms up, exhale, touch the toes down in front of you and bring the knees to the chest. You can try this with one leg at a time if two is feeling like too much. You might run out of breath. You can do a hold after exhale at the end. And you can make it even harder, bringing the legs further away. Now to hold after exhale in the position. Hold after exhale can increase carbon dioxide in the blood, which then helps you get more oxygen when you do make that next inhale. Your hold after exhale can be half the length of the exhale or the same length. Just take a break. And have the legs straight or bent. I've got my feet wide, angling the knees in. These are all options. Just play with what feels best in your body. Right, so we're going to move to those leg stretches that I've been promising. Let's start with your left leg if you like. Or you can always start with your side that feels more of a challenge if you've got an injury. You can start with, sorry, your easier side, the side that isn't bothering you. So that's another way to go about it. In this position, just bringing that hip down of the leg that's up. The other leg can be straight as I'm showing, or it can be bent. So bent is going to be easier, straighter is going to be harder. I like to use the wall for support. Drawing that left hip down. Now, if you want to add a bit of movement, exhale, leg towards your face, and inhale, point the toes and leg moves away. Or you can just stay in the position. We've done a lot of leg stretches today, so you might be ready just to stay here. If you're staying, you can also add a namaste position for the hands with that belt looped. And that might just help you take a little more deeply. Keep drawing that left hip down as you exhale. Again, you can always bend the knee at any time. And switching sides when you're ready. Again, you can bend and straighten. You can bring the leg towards you, bring it away. You can bend the opposite leg. Any of those, or just stay in the position as I'm showing today. Exhale, drop that right hip down to the floor. And inhale, stretch long. When you're ready, both feet into the belt. Just stay here and rest in this semi-inversion. You'll be just holding on to the belt with your hands or keeping in that namaste position. Try to keep the lower back on the ground. Just resting the breath. Inhale strong, exhale soft. Inhale strong, exhale soft. You can end the class with your legs up the wall if you'd like, or Shavasana of any sort that feels good for your body. Your legs can be bent. You have a bolster or blocks under your thighs. You have a rolled mat under the knees or a rolled blanket, or you might like your legs straight. Classically, the feet are just turned out and they're just hanging out. I like to have my feet parallel to the wall to help my feet and my legs and hips feel more aligned. So pick your medicine. You might put a blanket over your body to keep warm. I just invite you to feel that fire at the belly button. You could, to help you with this awareness, you could put a block or a pillow on that area. Just feel the rise and fall of the breath. And as you inhale, feel that fire expand. As you exhale, feel the fire just become more contained, and maybe feel the logs or the fireplace around those logs and fire. And if you like, as you inhale, you can say to yourself, strong. And exhale, you can say to yourself, soft. When you're ready, just coming back to the awareness of your breath, lengthening that breath. Into your body. Feeling the weight of your body into the floor. And the room around you. Bringing the hands to the heart if that's comfortable. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now the opposites of the strong and the soft, we find that peace, that balance point. Namaste, namaskaram. Thank you very much.